robbed a Brinks truck.
1 week ago today, two men armed with rifles robbed a Brinks truck. This happened at 9:45 in the morning while the armored truck was making a delivery at a check cashing business in Tacony. Sources telling NBC 10 they got away with more than $1 million. This surveillance video behind me shows the moments just before the robbery. You see this person getting out of that truck over there. They're walking across Torresdale Avenue toward that check cashing spot. Out of frame there, though, police say that Brinks employee was ambushed by two men with rifles. NBC 10 got audio of a witness's call to police.
They were both armed, two of them armed with automatic rifles. They fled in a bright blue Acura MDX, tinted out, eastbound on Common.
So the robbers abandoned that getaway car near Fairmount and Hancock. Today, I reached out to the FBI and to Philadelphia police, and they tell me they are still looking for the two suspects. Tonight, we're going in depth on armored truck heists in our area. I actually asked the FBI if these incidents were on the rise because it feels like this is a trend. They couldn't get me numbers by deadline, but we certainly have seen a string of these types of robberies. You've seen them here on NBC 10, armored trucks carrying cash and other high-value assets owned by Brinks and Loomis were targets last year. I asked former FBI Special Agent J.J. Claver why. The answer may seem obvious, but there's a twist, too.
Well, in the words of Willie Sutton, the great gangster era bank robber, when they asked him why he kept robbing banks, he said, because that's where the money is. Your average bank branch does not have that much cash in, particularly at the teller stations. Most of the cash is kept in a locked vault, with time locks, and you can't just get into it. But armored cars are a little different. They are by their nature mobile. They are driving from location to location, making multiple deliveries and pickups. So, that money is going into and out of that truck on a pretty regular basis. So anybody who knows the route, knows where it's going to be stopping, it just makes it easier than robbing, say, a fixed location, a bank or some other location that has a large amount of cash.
While the trucks are armed, the robbers often are too. One of the most dramatic scenes, you may remember this one, from a robbery in Cheltenham Township last August. Two armed men, one carrying an AK-style rifle, ambushed a Brinks employee as she was delivering a bag of cash into the H-Mart. They got away with roughly $700,000 to $800,000. And by my count, that was the sixth robbery of an armored truck in our region between May and August last year. Last May, a Loomis truck got robbed in Wilmington, then June in Port Richmond. Two men stole money and a gun from a Brinks truck driver. In Northeast Philadelphia, two men robbed a Loomis truck. They're not always successful. In July, three men tried to rob a Brinks truck in Holmesburg, but couldn't get past the truck's security system. And another attempt in Northeast Philly, where even shots were fired during a busted truck heist on Castor Avenue. Last week's robbery on Torresdale Avenue, however, was successful. Back to our expert. Claver told me that's likely because it was an inside job.
Well, certainly, the investigators and the Philadelphia Police Department appears to be the lead agency in this, although it's not uncommon for the FBI to get involved in these types of cases. Investigators are going to be looking at everybody who has any connection to this company, the location that this truck was working out of, people who would have access to routing information, scheduling information, and the basic information about what's on the truck. They're certainly going to be looking at everybody who has any connection to not just the company, but this truck and the route, and any connection to employees. Not just these employees, but any employees that would have knowledge of, the details of the deliveries that this truck was going to be making.
So back to the security element. Are these trucks more vulnerable? I reached out to Philadelphia police, the FBI, and to Brinks because it was the latest target. I asked them, are they increasing security in and around these trucks? I got generally the same broad answer. The robbery is under investigation and that they work with local and federal partners to combat this. Now, while the crime may temporarily feel like a big win, the consequences when you're caught are severe. Claver told me between the technology in these trucks and when thieves get overconfident and hit multiple targets, there are almost always arrests. And these are federal crimes when you're robbing companies involved in interstate and even international commerce. Last Wednesday, a Philadelphia man pleaded guilty to his role in 4 Brinks truck thefts last year. He's facing a maximum sentence of life in prison and a $1.5 million fine.